Welcome. I'm Joe White from Behind the Curtain, and we are here tonight with wonderful people from the cast and directing of Luke Meets Charlene at a Very Nice Bar. We are here with the wonderful Larry Loring, who directed it, the great actor George Smith, and Cindy Bell, who starred in it. So welcome aboard tonight, everybody. I am very pleased to have you all tonight. And I apologize for not being there, but like I said, I'm in the coal mines of Pennsylvania trying to dig my way out. So unfortunately, I can't be there in Ashland. I'm just south of Ashland. So hopefully I'll be back in Ashland very soon doing our next film. So first of all, I want you to see the wonderful work that was done. And I hope that the directing vision that Larry had, that Connor and I took away, that wonderful day of filming. Cindy very much appreciated that we were allowed to film in your wonderful home. So I want to sit back, relax, and enjoy Luke Meet Charlene at a Very Nice Bar. And once that's over, we'll come back and I'll ask you some questions about the film and the process and everything else. And
we're strangers.
Yeah.
No, pretend.
What?
Pretend. We're strangers. We don't know each other. My name is Charlene.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Be whoever you want. But I'm Charlene.
Luke.
Luke. What, like Luke and Laura?
No. Cool hand Luke.
We're strangers.
Great job, Cindy.
it was very good work there. What did you guys think watching it for the first time? I know you get a lot of work behind the scenes. So what's your initial reaction, George?
I'm just kind of blown away. I didn't think it would. Honestly, I didn't think it would be that powerful or moving. But when you see it from the other side of the camera, when you're on this side, and it all comes together like that, it was just like it was something I couldn't have imagined.
Cindy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the way it was put together
Yeah.
just made it really powerful.
Yeah, but playing off of Cindy especially and getting the direction I got, I think that helped out a lot. But I fed off of Cindy a lot.
Worked well together.
Yes, you did.
Quick question. I know that you directed it. One of the questions I had before we get into the other thing was, did it meet the expectations and the vision that you had when we chose this script and seeing it on the screen? I know you and I saw it a while back and we made some edits and changes to it to make this final product, but did it meet your expectations?
It did, and then some, actually. When I went into it, when I first read the script, I loved it. I loved the way it turned around at the end. We're strangers, yeah, and then at the end, oh, we're strangers, yeah. It was, that juxtaposition just excited me when I read it, and then I realized that it's such a funny script about what's ultimately a serious situation. Their relationship is, serious. There's a deadness to the relationship, and Charlene wants to bring some spark to that, and it just backfires on her in that way. So I wanted to make sure that the humor was there, but then I wanted to make sure that at the end there was real pathos, excuse me, and that there would be some sense of hope. In the script, I don't think that, in the original script, I don't think that Luke was intended to be sad necessarily, but I wanted to add that in order to give that sense that maybe there's hope for this relationship ultimately.
So well. Yeah, I loved how the play went, the piece went, and then there was just close-ups on different little aspects of their world, their life, before it concluded. I thought that was a lovely touch.
One of the trying to do visually, one of the things we get feedback on the films that we enter was to make it more visual, make it more not just the lines that each person says, because those are important and those are captured. But I also think the reactions that you each had with each other and the other components made it makes it more of a film than just a play on stage. So I think that was really one of the things. And one of the things Larry and I have been talking about as we're doing this film series is how do we make more visualizations? And that's why we're painfully having another take and another take and another option and another look and another feel, another reaction. So as it was painful, maybe as you were going through the process, hopefully it was worth it as you were getting to the final product on the screen. So
I do a lot of stage work, and
You get one shot on stage. So then when
you get out there and we're doing this and you say your lines and you give your all and you do it and then you hear, well, I'd like another take if we could do it this way. I'm just not used to that part of it where you had to change a little bit, repeat, rinse and repeat, which was that was a pretty new experience for me. It was like, always give it. You got one shot, get it done.
Yeah, one other.
Funny you mentioned that, because one of the questions I always ask, especially with people who've done stage with us or film, is, Cindy, what do you think the main difference is that you've experienced? Giorgio kind of alluded to it. What the difference between doing a film versus doing a stage work, and what you like or don't like about doing a film? I'd be curious on that, Cindy.
I think it was interesting not to have an audience, because usually when you put together your final piece, that becomes a part of what you're experiencing. And it also, the segmentation was very different.
Yeah.
So when you see the final piece and the flow,
Yeah.
it's really beautiful. But that's not the
You don't sense
experience.
that,
So
yeah.
it's really interesting to see that contrast. And I like that just because it's interesting, because I think I like the editing process and sort of how things then finally wind up to be what they are. I'm a stage actor for the most part myself, and what I notice is, I have big facial expressions. So, in a different piece, perhaps.
We loved a lot of the facial expressions that we were going through. As you say, the editing process I love all the aspects of it, but Connor and I played tennis with this probably 100 times back and forth, going through specific scenes and cuts and edits and takes that we've done. And the one thing we've all learned is the more takes we have, the more choices you have. But I think, as Larry can attest to, he gives the vision of what he wants to see on the screen. That's why I was asking, is hopefully that Connor and myself put together what the vision was for both the director, Larry, and also the actors. So hopefully that came through. And it is a different experience, because the end product is probably worth it when you see it and you probably feel it. And as George, you said, there's one shot when you're on stage. If you miss that shot, you don't get another shot at it. But to Cindy's point, you don't get the immediacy of acting and the reaction that you would get from an audience to keep you going in the next scene. So it's a completely different part of acting from stage and film, but rewarding in a lot of ways and frustrating in others.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think what I did like, I did a play recently with people who did a fair amount of film, and the woman who directs a number of the pieces said that she, oftentimes actors would come in, they had never met, they hadn't rehearsed, they just did it, and I would hate that. So I loved that we had a rehearsal process, we could explore the characters, we could think about where we were going and where we needed to go, and we could combine it with this kind of product. I liked that.
All I know is at the end of that filming day, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
It was
Hey, Larry.
6 o'clock at night, you work till 9, then you go home. No,
Like Yeah, to speak to something that
Cindy said earlier about her experience on the stage. Cindy's probably my favorite local stage actress. And it's one of the reasons I brought her on to this, knowing how good she is. And she mentioned she's used to doing big expressions, but her ability to draw those back down for the camera was I'm grateful for. You did was
thank you.
superior ability to draw that back, because I know it's hard. The films that I've been in as well, it's the same. I'm used to being on the stage and it's
Yeah.
and you gotta suck that back down and for the film.
Yeah.
So well done.
And I loved you were just very mellow, kind of very natural. It was just, you were there. And I thought that was very relatable.
Sort of part of our relationship, just be there. You know?
At least you were there.
I was there.
So Larry, quick question on the film. I think Cindy alluded to it. One of the things you and I discussed going into this whole process, the film series, which we'll talk about more, that what we're doing with this film and when it's going to premiere in other places, was we've talked to a lot of different actors who we've done films, and they said, well, they would call us in on a Wednesday. You got to be there at 11. Here's your script. And oh, by the way, here's George Smith, and that's your scene partner. So we're going to be filming in 3 minutes. So start. And we didn't want that. We wanted some camaraderie and some of that. So Larry, what are the thought process you think we discussed that you could share with the audience and the actors about why we wanted to do it this way?
yeah, no,
We wanted on some level to give the actors and the staff some taste of the stage experience, but in the film. In the stage experience, we get to get relationships with the people that we're working with. In film, you don't. We just said that. So we wanted to make sure that there was something of a flavor there, number one. And number two, we wanted to make sure that because the actors got a chance to know each other, got a chance to interact with one another, especially in a film like Luke Meets Charlene, this is a married couple with issues. And if they didn't know each other, I don't think that would have come out as well, however good you both are as actors. So that's one of the ways, or one of the reasons rather, that we chose that. How about you?
No, exactly the same thoughts. You hit every reason we're doing it. The bottom line becomes is in this case where the actors or the characters needed to know each other. You needed to work with each other. I know you guys held a Zoom rehearsal. Cindy, we were over your house a couple of times to do rehearsals. I know it was a pain. Appreciate all that effort, but I think once again it leads up to what we thought the final product would be, and I think it affirms the stuff that Larry and I talked about on how we go through the process of casting. Which, by the way, Larry, you did a fantastic job of casting. Both actors did an amazing job, and I believe that it just comes out there. Quick question. I changed the topics quickly. I kind of what we're doing with this film is two things. One, we're putting it into the ACT Film Festival in October 5th, 6th, 7th. So it'll be seen 3 nights, those nights. So get all your friends and family and enemies and all the people that are jealous of the great work that you're doing. Have them come out and see this great film along with the other 6 that we're doing. But I actually also, Larry and I are entering these into film festivals across the country. But the one thing that he and I are struggling with, probably me more than he is, and I'm going to ask George first and then Cindy, and I think about it, what would you categorize this film to be? A comedy or a drama? And I know it's a tough one because it borders on both, but if I had to pick a category to enter these in, which one do you think it would do better in comparatively to other films? George?
I think it's dramatic. Even the comedy lends some drama to it.
Yeah.
You know, the contradictions that happen within it as well. So I would put this really in that category of a drama at this point, especially the way it wraps up, you know?
What about you, Cindy?
I agree. I think there's pathos in it.
Yeah.
And the funniness kind of highlights their disconnect,
Yeah.
Exactly.
which is then the drama.
Yeah. So think we'll take that as a takeaway, and Larry and I will talk about what we're entering and where we're entering and how we're doing. Some of the other films that we've done have been successful so far because we've done them a little bit earlier. So now we're in the film and the entering of the festival's process right now. So it really does help to get the feedback of the actors, and Larry and I will take it away a little bit more. I don't know if Larry, you want to add something, what your thought process may be there, or still want to
No.
defer?
When we
Talked about it before, I cheated. I called it a dramedy. So,
I would have done that.
yeah, exactly. So,
Unfortunately, they don't have that. They don't have that category in the festivals. It's either
well, my point is, I think it would work in either category.
I mean, it's not long days.
was that
Yes,
Cindy?
it's not long day's journey into night.
No,
So I'm
no,
stabbed
no,
in the heart. So if we were up against something like that, it would seem so
Exactly,
light.
yeah.
But it's, yeah, again, it has a lot of pathos
Yeah.
to it.
I think it does too. Like I said, you guys did a great job. Back to Cindy/George. Either one can go first. Just give me a quick 2-minute, a 2-second blurb on your overall experience with working with ACT versus maybe I don't know if you've done film before, but just in general, your experience with good, bad, and different. What can we do better in the process? What did you like about the process? Kind of thing. I always ask those questions to people who've been in the stage show or in any one of our films, because obviously you guys are living through it. We're not getting paid for any of this. You're dedicating your time. So what can we do better? And what do you think worked well for you? George, you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. I think I've done a couple of films before, a couple of short films, even stuff I am proud of. But with those as well, I think this process is really good. For myself, I took some real good homework back because I got a chance to work with these two professionals over here. And the parts that I took back was, more rehearsal, more just more knowing that script a lot better, feeling that script. But I think the way it was done, when we all got together for that really intense day, I think it went very, very well like that. The only thing I think we'd do more, maybe take a couple more breaks, but we were under an intense time frame to get everything done. But I think that the way ACT approached this, quite frankly, is that they had a lot of respect for what Cindy and I were doing. And there are places, and this is why we have retakes, where you fall down. And it's getting that. I thought the really great part was the coaching on how to get us back on track. And so I would say that part of it was all really good, and maybe with a couple more breaks and some power shots, I think not a bad thing.
All right, thank you, George. Cindy, what do you think?
I will compare it to the one other film experience I had, which I thought was crazy because nothing was connected. And there was no continuity, and there was like not only there wasn't continuity, it was just crazy. Like somebody would have a raincoat on, it would be bloody, and then later on it wouldn't be, and it was nuts. But at the end of that, the way it got put together fascinated me, and it worked. I liked this process 100 times more because it made sense. Again, I come from the stage background, so I like the rehearsal process. I like getting to know my co-actor, what's happening. I like to dig, and I think that's harder to do without that part of the experience. And then I just found it really interesting I don't think we did a huge number of takes. So that was really interesting to me, that there weren't a lot, but people were really on top of, well, we need this, and we need this, and we'll get this, and we'll get this just in case. And then how you wove it together was really nice.
Very minimal improv on a lot of the way that came together. Yeah, that's true. It's very organized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Larry does a great job of doing a lot of homework behind the scenes and thinking about what we want, sharing that with Connor and myself, and trying to execute that plan. And it's sort of like I equate it to a football game plan. We know what we want to do on game day. Sometimes it works. Sometimes the running back gets hurt. We got to audible, make a change, and do something different. But at least we're all around the same page trying to execute that plan. And I know Larry and I have been having a lot of conversations on the balance between director of the actors versus the director of who the camera goes and et cetera. And I think we work well together, Larry. I'm not sure. I think we had a chat about how that works and how we have to balance that out on the day of the shoots.
Yeah, no, that's working very well. And while we're on that, sort of on that topic, I want to make sure we do a shout out to Connor, who did some terrific camera work, and to Phil, whose sound work was phenomenal.
And just to echo part of that, a lot of the confidence, and I think I speak a little bit for you on this, you could correct me. I'm married, I'm used to being corrected. But the part of it is the actors have a lot more confidence when they see the organization and the way that everything else is running around them and put together around them and the orchestration of that. So you get the heebie-jeebies when everybody's running around saying, this would be a great camera angle, and they're hanging from the roof or something, But the way that the professionals in that room brought that together, I think for myself, and I'm going to guess for yourself,
Please do.
brought that confidence in there that we were actually, we had the confidence to focus more on what we needed to do rather than wondering about what was worrying around us.
Yeah. The preparation that everybody did
Oh, yeah.
in order to make this into a film, and I'm not even talking about George and me, I'm talking about everybody else, was so obvious.
Oh, yeah.
And felt, it was comforting, and it made me feel like I was in really good hands.
Yes.
That felt important.
It's a great crew. I mean, Larry, echo your thoughts of Connor's ability to take the vision that you have for what you want, capturing that, editing it, and doing it. And it was great. It was a great experience. I know a one-day shoot in that kind of a film would normally be 2 to 3 days. We try to condense it into like a 5-6 hour window. That's why we didn't have as many breaks as we did, but appreciate that feedback, and we'll take it away and do what we can on how to improve that. Last couple of questions before we break is I ask this all the time. So 2 questions quickly to Larry. That was the last film that we did with the one camera one. Every one we did since then, we had the 2. Where do you see the differences are, what you would have done differently now that you would have had 2 cameras? And also, is there anything in the film that you would have done differently in hindsight, Larry, as you see that? And then I have some questions for George and Cindy.
The last question first. I would have changed the split screen a little bit, just in terms of the audio and the delivery of those lines. Other than that, no, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd change anything from the way that we've got it right now. But even at that section is still very good. I have no complaints about it as such. I would have done it a little bit differently, maybe edited it a little differently. What was the other question?
How difficult it is to work with me, but no, that's a different show. No, it was more of the 1 versus 2 camera.
Oh, 2 camera, yeah.
Like how would you visually think about it? Because the last couple of films we did, we had the 2 camera.
Yeah. Well, fewer takes, number 1, because you don't have to take the camera this side, then to this side, and do it all over again. It just gives you a better range, frankly, in terms of the things that you can do, and the approaches you can take, the angles. Gives you better angles without having to drag the day out. I mean, if we had had 2 cameras for this, even though it was a small room, we would have been done by noon probably.
You would have had your break.
And you would have had your break, yeah.
So a couple of questions I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to give both George and Cindy a couple of seconds to think about them, and then I'll go through a couple of the things that we're doing at ACT while they're thinking about these 2 questions. And I always ask this, and I try to not throw it at you and just on the spot. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. I'm going to ask the question. Then I'm going to go through some promos about what we're doing at ACT, and then I'll come back to you for your answers. So the question I asked to both George and Cindy is, How did you relate to your character? How did you, as an actor, try to relate to that character? And two, what was your favorite line to say in the play, in the film, that you really enjoyed? And Larry's question is, what was your favorite shot of the film that you just saw? And while you guys think about that, I'm going to talk about some of the things we're doing here at ACT. Okay, so we are doing this film festival that you'll see Luke meet Charlene. We have 6 other films that will be preparing in October 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Ashland VFW. And in addition to the ability to people to come see it live, have a red carpet event, and have people get interviewed, etc. We're also going to have these films being streamed after the festival is over, and those will be also available. So if you've got people that you know that can't make it on the 5th, 6th, or 7th, and they give you some feeble excuse that they can't, and come see these great shows, I want you to tell them that we're going to be able to stream these shows, all 7 of them, and for a reasonable price of $3 million. No, of a very reasonable price for us to film, see all these 7 films. And that'll be immediately after the festival is over in October. But first, I want to see if you want to come live and see the other films, meet the other actors, come on down and enjoy that. In addition, we're also having our spring show planning, which we're going to do called MA Law, which is a takeoff on LA Law. It's a series of shorts, and we're asking writers to go back and start writing and crafting. And they've got about a month or so to get me and Larry some scripts that we'll choose to what we're going to be doing in the spring of 2024, which is going to be April around that time. So if you're a writer or just have a story you want to tell of anything that takes place in a courtroom or a law firm, please do so and send it to myself at Ashland Community Theater, and Larry and I will look at it and go through all the submissions. Okay, I think I've given George and Cindy and Larry a few minutes to think about their the questions that I asked. So, George, how was it to play Luke, and what was your favorite line to say in the film?
NASCAR race driver. You know, I think that was one of my favorite lines. It was that, and also, you know, not looking like cool hand Luke. You know, so I had to put those two really right up there.
And playing Luke as itself as a character, how did you try to relate to it as an actor?
Well, I'm Irish Italian, so they both have their sad aspects. So what I tried to do was channel them, because when you have an Italian mother and an Irish father, you get it from both ends. So what I decided to do was to bring that part of it in. They had a very close relationship, and we had a lot of fun growing up. But I saw other members of the family that were around. I think, oh no, Uncle Vinny. Yeah, that's Uncle Vinny. And I do have an Uncle Vinny. I'm not making that up for my cousin Vinny. That's Vinny, and that's So I channeled some of that in there. It's not really the part that I had the problem with was I remember a line that I was told early on in acting is, "You're not acting, you are the person." So I had to the getting there was kind of tough, because I'm not that confrontational, or my wife says that actually I'm probably some sort of chipmunk on steroids and running around. So it was hard to channel that part.
Sure. Cindy, questions to you. How did you get into the character of Charlene / Mona, and what was your favorite line to say in the film?
I'd say that there were parts of Mona, Charlene, who did remind me of my real life. My husband is very kind of like him in the play. And
I swear I didn't talk to her husband before this.
And he's a lovely man, but
Yeah.
I'm just much more sort of energetic and blah, blah, blah. And so sometimes I try and get more from him than he wants to give. So that was relatable. The fantasy place, not as much, but that was really fun. Favorite line, I don't really know. I keep being struck by just occasionally, like, the looks of exasperation I gave him, that when I watched it, and sort of I could feel that was probably I don't know if it was my favorite, but it resonated for me.
I think you like spinning me around and yelling at me.
Look at you.
Yeah, I guess when you said to me, Luke, and I said, Luke, right, when you
Yeah.
reminded
Yeah.
me of your name, and I was like,
Luke,
oh,
yeah.
you caught me, you bastard.
I'm a cool guy, you know, I'm a cool guy, Luke.
Yeah, so no particular line, but just sort of the ambience.
Larry, what about you? What was your favorite shot or favorite lines of the film? And
I was actually fairly fond of George's line. I read it on the bathroom wall.
Oh, you know, that was a good one. I had forgotten that one. You're right. That was a really good one.
Yeah. And then Cindy's, I'm with Cindy on this one. Some of the expressions really topped the actual script at times. The exasperation on Cindy's face as she's trying to draw George into the fantasy and he's just not playing. It was lovely.
well, I agree. I think once again, I want to thank all of you for your contributions. Larry directing and putting all the work behind it. Cindy and George obviously acting in it. I'm very happy that it sounds like you're very pleased with the final product. Looking forward to seeing you guys around the festival in October. We'll give you more information as it starts to get streaming thereafter. I appreciate everyone's contributions, obviously Connor's and Phil's and all the other people that are involved with it. Barbara's there right now, and she's actually one of the co-executive producers with me to get this thing doing. If it wasn't for Barbara and her great organization, WACA, to get this done, we probably wouldn't be doing it. And love working with all of you and look forward to working with you again on future projects. And looking forward to seeing you guys in October. So appreciate you taking your night out and coming over to Ashland and seeing everything and tolerating me from being a little bit further away than where you are. But I didn't want to not do this. I wanted to share the movie with you guys, and I hope you appreciate. I know you know how much I appreciate you guys contributing your efforts and times in this film. So.
And Joe, I hope you make it out of the coal mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Do the
tough
best
one.
guys. Do the best I can. I need to get out so I can do the next film. So, but I appreciate your thoughts and prayers with me.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks again. You guys rock.
So much, everybody. And Barbara, thanks so much for doing all you're doing. And I will be in touch with everybody very soon. Thank you, thank you, and appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Good night.